looking for, now I'm looking for my therapy bowls and can't find them.
What happened to the sound?
Oh,
No sound.
it should be back now.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start over again so I can edit that first chunk out. Come to seated towards the front of your chair and begin to stack the bones one on top of the next, starting with the feet, the ankles, the lower legs, the knees. Come to the sit bones. Observe the contact between the sit bones and the seat of the chair. Level the pelvis. And then stack each of the vertebrae of the spine, one on top of the next, all the way up to the top of your head. Bring the attention to the breath. And observe the movement of the body with the breath. The movement of the belly, the movement of the ribs, the movement of the spine, the movement of the sternum. Let the shoulder blades slide down the back. And draw the shoulder blades slightly back and in toward the spine, helping to open up the front body to create more space for that incoming breath. Deepen the breath, expanding the belly with each inhale breath, and drawing the belly back towards the spine with each exhale breath. Even the flow of the breath between your inhale and your exhale breath. And having established the flow of the breath, allow the belly to expand and contract with each breath. Continue our breathing practice by now allowing or increasing the length of our exhale slightly longer than our inhale. You might use a count of 4 for your inhale and a count of 6 for your exhale. Once again, come towards the front. Make sure you're sitting towards the front of your chair. Rock side to side. Notice the weight shift from the right to the left sit bone. And then come back to center. Tilt the pelvis forward and back and forward and back by alternately pulling and pushing on the sit bones, and then bring the pelvis back to a neutral position so that the bowl of the pelvis, the front and the rear rim of the pelvis are roughly equal. Stack the spine up. Inhale, raise the arms overhead, and exhale the hands back to heart center. Let's raise the arms up. Exhale back to heart center. And one final time, rise up and exhale back to heart center. Let's find our blocks. Place our blocks beside the ankles. Inhale the arms overhead and exhale. Use the chair to tilt the pelvis forward to keep the spine nice and long, and bring the hands onto the blocks and press the hands into the blocks, drawing the shoulder blades together on the back. Inhale, rise the arms overhead. And let's exhale, forward fold over the legs into the blocks. Press in, inhale, come up. And this time, exhale the hands back to heart center. Interlace the fingers. Take the interlaced hands around the right shin. Let's draw that right leg in towards the right shoulder. Drawing in, flex and point the toes on the right foot. Circle the toes in one direction and then circle in the opposite direction. Then come onto the knee and circle that hip or knee in one direction and then in the opposite direction. Interlace behind the thigh, raise and lower that right leg for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Release the right foot onto the floor. Interlace the fingers in the non-dominant interlace and draw the left knee towards the left shoulder. Flex and point the toes. Circle in one direction and circle in the opposite direction. Take the interlace behind the leg and lift and lower, lift and lower. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, and 11, and 11. Oh, we forgot to do the knee here. So we'll just circle the knee before we leave this side. Circle the knee in one direction and then go in the opposite direction. Release the right foot onto the floor. And we're going to come up to standing. So just come standing beside your chair. We're going to do a little bit of, we're going to start our practice with some balance work. So use the chair for as much or as little support as you need during our practice. So standing beside our chair, bring the feet about hip distance apart. Try and line the feet up parallel to each other by drawing a line from the base of the second toe to the center of the ankle, and make those two invisible lines, those two lines that you've drawn, roughly equal. As we did when on the sit bones, just move from side to side and feel the weight shift onto one foot and the opposite foot, one foot, the opposite foot, and come back to center. Shift the weight forward onto the toes, and then rock back onto the heels. Forward onto the toes, rock back onto the heels, and forward onto the toes, and come back onto the heels. And now even the weight out between the right and left foot. Let's begin now to just move to a bit more balanced work. Again, just lift the right heel off the mat. And just like you're walking, lift the left heel, sort of alternating right and left, 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 and right and left. And come back and even the weight on both feet. And now, again, use this chair for as much or as little support as you need. Let's lift the right foot up and down, and just lift and lower for 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, and 12, and 12. And now we're going to lift one leg and hold for 1, 2, 3. Opposite leg, 1, 2, 3. 2, 2, 3. 2, 2, 3. 3, 2, 3. 3, 2, 3. 4, 2, 3. 4, 2, 3. 5, 2, 3. 5, 2, 3. 6, 2, 3. 6, 2, 3. 7, 2, 3. 7, 2, 3. 8, 2, 3. 8, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 10, 2, 3, and 10, 2, 3, and come back and shake that out. Let's now face the seat of our chair. And again, use whatever support you need. Let's begin by bringing the right foot onto the chair and just supporting ourselves with the hands on that right thigh. We're going to hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the right leg onto the floor, and let's bring the left leg onto the chair. Or you can use something, again, if the seat of your chair is a little too high, you could certainly maybe just bring the foot onto 2 blocks. So let's hold here and try and draw that hip on the raised leg. Try and draw it down towards the floor and strengthen the core muscles to support the spine and stack the spine. Feel the weight moving down now through the pelvis into that supporting leg. And we'll hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now let's release that right foot onto the floor. And again, just shake things out. Or left foot. Now let's bring the right foot back onto the chair. And this time, we're just going to bring the left hand across and to the outside and twist the body slightly towards the right. Breathe here. Come back through center and twist in the opposite direction. So twisting away from that raised leg. And in fact, you even can stretch an arm out behind. Inhale, come back to center. And let's switch sides. So now we have the left leg, left foot on the chair, and we'll twist towards our right side, our left side, sorry, left side. Stretch the arm back. Release and twist away from that leg. And come back to center. Bring both feet back onto the floor. Now, facing the chair, fold at the hip crease and bring the hands onto the seat of the chair. Bend the knees, take the strain out of the lower back, and allow the shoulder blades to slide off the back, to wrap around to the outside, to move away from the spine as we press the whole spine up towards the ceiling, and then exhale Let the shoulder blades move in together as we allow the body to move towards the seat of the chair. Inhale up. Exhale. Shoulder blades slide in. Come up. Shoulder blades slide in. And then find a neutral position, sort of halfway between that range of motion as the shoulder. So the shoulders are about halfway between their maximum movement in either direction. Let's bring the right hand, or bring the left hand, bring the left hand directly under the face and take the arm around the back, and let's twist towards our left side, pressing into that hand and twisting left. Come back to center. Now place the right hand underneath the face and twist in the opposite direction. Inhale, come back to center. Let's switch hands again. Left hand, twist right. Return to center. Right hand, twist left. Back through center. Once more, left hand, and this time you can wrap the hand around or lift it towards the ceiling. Back through center. Right hand is down on the seat of the chair and twist in the opposite direction. Come back to center. Grasp the edges of the chair. And this time, rather than sort of moving the spine up and down, we're going to do some cat-cow moves. So inhale, let the tailbone point towards the sky, the sternum pull forward between the arms, and the belly move towards the floor. Exhale, round the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. And exhale. Come back to a neutral spine. Remember here, you can always bend the legs as much as you need to release the strain on the lower back. Let's step the left leg in towards the chair and stretch the left leg out behind us, curl the toes under, and stretch out the bottom of the foot on that left foot that's back behind us. Stretching that out. And now straighten the leg that's towards the chair, the left leg, and then bend it in towards the chair. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Let's ending up bending in, and either continue to hold the chair or bring the hands onto the thigh. And just let the body sort of sink down towards the floor and feel the stretch in both the front and the back of that extended leg. Release the hands onto the chair, and let's step both feet back to a chair version of down dog. Remember, you can bend the knees here as much as you want. And now let's step the right leg in and stretch that left leg back behind us, coming up onto the toes to stretch out the bottom of the foot. Straighten the left leg or right leg and bend for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Step both feet back to meet, and let's stretch the body out in down dog. Walk the feet in towards the chair. And actually, I forgot to have you come up onto the thigh on the left side. So we're just step back and come up. Just so we're balanced. Release the hands onto the chair, step both legs back to meet, stretch out. And walk the feet in towards the chair. Come all the way up, hands meet overhead, and draw the hands back to heart center. Let's now step the left foot in towards the chair and take this right foot back and try and take it parallel with the short edge of the mat. Open our hips towards the side, the long side of the mat. And tilt, first of all, with the hands on the waist, and try and wrap the fingertips around that hip crease. So try and get the fingertips down into the hip crease so you can find that point where the movement is going to occur. So actually push into the chair side hip crease to push that hip crease back and then straighten again. So push into the hip side hip crease, keep the spine long and move sideways. That's it. Yeah, so the shoulders are not really moving here. The whole trunk is moving as one piece. So press into that hip side, and now you can reach that arm out to the top, the back of the chair. And the right arm can stay beside you or lift up. So use this time to bring the attention to the back, to the foot, to that extended foot, and bring the weight to the outer edge of that extended foot. Now, you may, well, let's come back up and release the arms. Now, this time, you may find going to the back of the chair was just about right for you, or you may extend the arms, and again, you can push that hip back and come onto the seat of the chair. And once again, stack the shoulders and try and create a line going all the way through the bones from that hand that's on the chair all the way up to the fingertips of that extended arm. Firm up the belly, firm up the core, and you may even find there's room to bring the hand to the inner side of the thigh for triangle pose. But again, don't do that at the expense. It's easy to come into this by rounding that upper shoulder forward. So try and keep the shoulders stacked and open. Inhale, let's come back up. And just come into this position with our hands on the hips. So when we're going into triangle pose, as you go sideways, notice keeping those shoulders back in the same plane. See how far you can go. Where do you run into a limit as you tilt towards the side? Now, the moment you start to allow this upper shoulder to come forward, so go to that point where you've reached your maximum. Now, that might be here. So we've got our chair to assist us and support us. It might be here, or it might be down here. But whatever the case, try to keep that upper shoulder from folding forward. Let's inhale, come all the way up. So anytime we're doing those side bends, to keep the action in the lateral muscles of the trunk, remember to keep almost like there's two panes of glass, and the upper body is squeezed between those two panes of glass as we move into those side bends. Let's now turn that foot that's under the chair forward and heel toe the feet back into center, or walk the feet back into center, and just come standing mountain pose. And breathe here. So this time, rather than turning my chair and facing you, I'm going to do this on the other, we'll do our triangle pose on the other side. And I'm going to just turn around and you'll see me from the back. So, step now that opposite foot in towards the chair and bring the outside foot back and place the hands on the hips. And I come into that crease of the hips and try and open the hips towards the side, the long side of the mat. And don't worry, or be aware that this side may be much easier, or a little bit, or a lot harder than the other side, or the range of motion may be entirely different. So draw that, press into the crease, hip crease on the chair side, move, and then find, let's just start with the back of the chair. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths to let each of the muscles, some that have to stay slightly contracted, some that have to stretch, find their way into this pose. Let's inhale, come back up. And once again, let's push in and either stay with the hand to the back of the chair or move down to the seat of the chair and twist open towards the ceiling. Remember, always keep that upper shoulder stacked over the lower shoulder. And let's lift up. And now, once again, fold into the side, either to the seat of the chair or inside of the leg for triangle. And let's come back up. This time we'll turn towards the seat of the chair, lift the back heel, and step both feet back to our chair down dog. Let's walk the feet in towards the chair. And once again, we're going to come up. Let's just flip our chair around again so we're standing beside the back of the chair. And we're going to take our 2 blocks and place them beside the chair. Now, 1 block will do if you've got small feet. I need 2 blocks to get the whole foot supported. Let's step up onto the 2 blocks. And so this action is, we're looking for an action where the pelvis is tilting down as we let the outside heel come to the floor, and try and keep that leg straight and then lift away. So this outside leg is moving up and down, and we're not bending the supporting knee. So lift for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Without trying to keep the pelvis level, we're going to lift, and I'll just turn sideways to, I want you to try and sort of, we're going to, so keep the pelvis level and use the glute muscles to lift the leg behind you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now bring that leg up to a right angle. And just hold. And let's release. So, oh, yes, step down off that. And I hope nobody has chairs that are too heavy because I've done a lot of chair movement today. So let's stand the opposite side now. So here we're trying to get this movement of the pelvis tilting toward, away, up and down. So flex the toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And again, keeping this outside leg straight, using the glutes to lift back for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Core is strong. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now bring this leg up to a right angle. And let's release and just shake out. And we'll come back to seated. So coming back to seated, let's line those blocks up just beside the ankles. Stack the spine, find the breath. Inhale the arms overhead, and let's exhale, tilt the pelvis forward and fold over the legs. Inhale, come all the way up. And let's exhale and draw the hands together. So let's wrap up with some fascia release work. So find your therapy balls or tennis balls. Begin with the right foot. Place the ball underneath the mound of the big toe on the right foot and roll across the toe bases and see if you can spread the toes out as you roll from one side to the other. So we've done a lot of work with the legs, all the muscles, most of the muscles of the lower body today. So hopefully those muscles are nice and warm and receptive to the fascia release. And just bring that ball to the center of the toe bases and allow the toes and the arch, that transverse arch of the foot, to wrap up around the ball. And think back to the times when we've done this towards the start of the class and notice if this feels just a little bit different today than it does when we do this work at the start of the class. Let's bring the ball underneath the mound of the big toe, roll all the way back to the heel, and then trace that same line back to the toe. Let's move to the first little toe. Trace that line all the way back to the heel and back to the little toe. So we're following the lines of the metatarsal bones, those big long bones that move all the way across the toes, and then finally the little toe and back. Explore the whole base of the foot, rolling the ball around. And notice any spots that maybe are offering a bit of resistance, feel slightly tender, and maybe bring some extra weight onto those spots and let the foot soften away from the resistance of the ball. Release the pressure on the leg. And now let's come up and just work those calf muscles. And again, how do the calf muscles react to the fascia release work when they're nice and warm and they've had some stretching compared to the start of the class? Come to the outer part of the calf. And by now, you should know the pattern that works best for you, whether it's working across the muscle fibers, circling, holding the ball and dragging it. What gives you the most release? And where are those spots that you consistently need to do some work to find a nice release? Let's come up onto the thighs. And perhaps you can think of this, that you're actually bringing the whole weight of the thigh to bear on the ball, and the ball is on the floor. So it's really don't be afraid to bring enough pressure to make this a fairly intense movement. Let's come up onto place the ball between the seat of the chair. Move across from side to side. And you can raise and lower that leg for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's find your second ball and balance yourself on those sit bones. And then move forward enough so that the ball is just behind the sit bones, sort of pulling the glute muscles away from the sit bones. So we're on both balls. The balls are directly behind the sit bones. And then let's just lean ourselves back to bring a little bit more weight into that area. Come forward. Inhale, go back. Forward. And let's go back for 3. And come forward. Remove the balls. And let's bring one ball, this time underneath the left foot, underneath the mound of the big toe, and roll from side to side again. Take a look at the toes. Can you spread the toes any amount? Even if it means just visualizing the space between the toes. Come to the center. Let the transverse arch and the toes wrap around the ball. Come to the base of the big toe, trace that line back to the heel, all the way back to the big toe, and then move progressively, going front to back, back to front for each little toe. Front to back, back to front, front to back, back to front, and front to back, back to front. Then explore the whole base of the foot. Concentrate on any of those spots that need some extra attention. And let's come up onto the leg. So work the calf muscle. Move to the other side. Let's come up onto the hamstrings. And then behind the thigh, working the hamstrings. So lift and lower the leg for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you might roll across. And let's set our therapy ball aside. come back to our seated mountain pose and just pause for a moment at seated mountain, stack the spine. Take a nice deep breath in, sigh out, exhale through the mouth. And now you can either just find a spot that's going to be comfortable for you for final relaxation. Slide yourself back in the chair. Allow the chair now to take over the role of the muscles in supporting the body. If you wanted to come to the floor as well, you can do that. And again, surrender the weighted body to the floor. Slow the breath. Relax the body, relax the mind. So visualize our favorite summer food. We're so lucky in this area to have access to fresh fruit, luscious strawberries, raspberries, cherries, peaches. That continuous bonanza of fruit that stretches from early June to mid-September. The sweetness of the sun gathered in the fruit. And if that's not your vision, one of your favorite things of summer, perhaps think of those fresh vegetables grown locally. Lettuce, onions, radishes, spinach. The flavor's full, fresh. Now let's slowly, with those wonderful images of summer in our mind, begin to deepen the breath. Move the fingers, move the toes. Let ourselves slide forward to the front of the chair, come to seated mountain pose one final time. Take a big inhale and then exhale once again with a sigh through the mouth. Bring the hands back to heart center. Thank yourself for making time for this practice. Thank each other for sharing your practice today. And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through today's practice. Namaste.